This week, police search for a wheelchair thief. Plus,
why someone wouldn't just stop there? I want justice.
Police look for a tow truck driver involved in a fatal hit and run. And New York City Mayor Eric Adams indicted on federal criminal charges. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. And that is our first story this week. Eric Adams has become the first sitting New York City mayor ever indicted on federal criminal charges. He's accused of accepting illegal campaign contributions and bribes from foreign officials, including luxury trips.
Well, today, federal prosecutors laid out their case against Eric Adams. The mayor saying despite the charges, as you just heard, he is still serving New Yorkers. He will now fight the bribery and corruption case as prosecutors allege he sold his influence to foreign nationals.
Fox 5's Linda Schmidt read through the 57-page indictment, as did all of us, and is breaking down how prosecutors pin these charges on the mayor. Linda.
Yeah, and it is very detailed. The indictment laying out a litany of examples where Mayor Adams allegedly broke the law dating back to when he was Brooklyn Borough president in 2014. The indictment says that Adams knowingly allowed and sought, and that's an important word there, sought, illegal donations from foreign nationals who were, quote, smuggling their contributions to Adams through straw donors. Within a year of becoming Brooklyn Borough president, the indictment alleges Eric Adams began building relationships with foreign nationals who were seeking influence with him, namely from Turkey. On numerous occasions, the mayor and his partner or a family member would fly on Turkish Airlines, which is primarily owned by the Turkish government. In October 2016, they purchased economy tickets valued at just over $2,200 and received free upgrades to business class worth about $15,000. In 2017, Adams, a family member and a staff member, accepted free business class tickets worth more than $35,000. Also in 2017, Adams, a relative and a liaison, stayed in the Bentley suite of the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul and paid just $600 for a two-night stay that would have cost about $7,000. During another trip to Istanbul, Adams asked for and received free hotel stays, dinners, and a boat trip, among other things, from a Turkish businessman, including a free two-night stay in the Cosmopolitan suite of the St. Regis Hotel, which would have cost about $3,000. In 2019, in Istanbul, the indictment alleges that Adams solicited at least $50,000 in illegal campaign contributions from a Turkish businessman who agreed, quote, believing that Adams might one day be the president of the United States and hoping to gain influence with Adams. The indictment alleges that Adams hid numerous illegal foreign donations through straw donors and smaller contributions, which ultimately allowed him to illegally receive more than $10 million in city public funds for his campaign. And then it was time for the mayor to repay the favors to Turkish nationals. In 2017, a Turkish official pressuring the mayor to force the FDNY to speed up the opening of a new 36-story skyscraper for the Turkish consulate without having a fire inspection. The indictment alleges Adams pressured the fire commissioner, who then allegedly pressured other top brass at the department to get the job done. And if they did not, quote, the chief of department and the fire prevention chief would lose their jobs. The skyscraper opened on time. The Turkish official responding, "You are great, Eric. You are a true friend of Turkey." Adams replied, "Yes, even more a true friend of yours. You are my brother." And in another example in the indictment, it was February 2023, a Turkish businessman texted the mayor that he was having problems resolving an issue with his city buildings department. He said, quote, "I always supported you," he said. Adams responding, quote, "Let me look into this." About a week later, the issue was resolved. The businessman then texting the mayor, "Brother, I want to thank you for your help. You have my continued support."
We now go to the Wakefield section of the Bronx, where the search is on to find the driver of a tow truck involved in a fatal hit and run that took the life of a 65-year-old pedestrian.
Well, the search is on tonight to find the driver who hit and killed this man and then just kept going.
Fox 5's Arthur Chan talked to the distraught daughter of the victim and has the latest from the Wakefield section of the Bronx.
It was walk sign. Why would someone just crush him and run? Why someone wouldn't just stop there? I want justice.
Maria Azrat is absolutely distraught after her father, 65-year-old SM Akhtaruzamam, was run over and killed by a hit-and-run driver behind the wheel of a tow truck Monday afternoon at the intersection of Bronxwood Avenue and East 229th Street in the Bronx. Fox 5 has obtained surveillance video from different sides of the street showing the pickup tow truck running over the victim on the driver's side. We've frozen the video to not show the impact, but after running the man over, we played the video, which shows the driver stop his car fully, then peel out from the scene.
I heard the impact of the accident, and then from there I seen the pickup driver driving away.
This man, who asked not to be identified, gave chase.
I tried to follow the car, and basically I ended up running into red lights, but I seen the driver run numerous red lights, park the car, and get out and run.
As the driver disappeared, back at the scene, bystanders jumped in to try to save the victim.
One of the things I kept hearing is he breathing?
Initially, the 65-year-old was breathing, but witnesses say though EMTs arrived quickly, his pulse was gone. Video that we've seen from both sides of the street show the tow truck coming down and cutting this turn so hard he was actually going against traffic in that center lane when he hit the victim, knocking the victim from the crosswalk all the way behind that white line. As the sun went down, relatives of SM Akhtaruzamam left the hospital to come see the intersection for themselves. The victim lived just 3 houses down from where he was killed.
He is the nicest person ever, and he's the love of my life. That's all I can say. He's so calm, so nice to everybody.
As police search for the hit-and-run driver, the victim's family struggles to make sense.
I'm gonna go to every single house and I'm gonna find out who hit him.
Of the senseless.
Down in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is where Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars after being arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. The MDC is a facility often described as hell on earth and is far from the glamorous life the hip-hop legend has presented to the public.
Fox 5's Lisa Evers is at MDC right now on Diddy's life behind bars. Lisa, what are you finding out tonight?
Well, Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section. There is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The inmates that you're surrounded around, just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on suicide watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons. Federal trial attorney Philip Hamilton says lockdown can mean a lot less time to prepare your defense.
In terms of fighting their case, it just makes it all the more difficult, because now in terms of you being able to communicate with your attorney, you are at the realms of just what's going on with respect to the facility. Is it on lockdown? Is the facility letting visitors in?
Detainees on suicide watch wear tearaway paper hospital-style garments and rubber shower shoes. The isolation may be the worst part for Combs. It's being done for his protection in the violence-prone facility. He will have no bunkie.
He's probably not going to have any contact with any other inmates. So for him, it's going to be a little different than for a person like me, where I will go in, I will go through process and intake, and then they'll assign me a cell, and I'll have a bunkie or a cellmate, and I'll be in population.
For him to be able to get out at this point, it just doesn't look good.
Now, we reached out to Combs' attorney but did not get a response. We also reached out to the Bureau of Prisons. They confirmed to us that Combs is in fact detained here at MDC. For how long remains to be seen.
Up in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, a 45-year-old man was stabbed on a moving subway train.
A man is hospitalized after being stabbed on the subway. This was in the Bronx. This happened just before 3 this morning on a moving southbound 4 train at Mott Haven. The 45-year-old victim was transported to Lincoln Hospital in stable condition. There's no word on what led to that stabbing, and no arrests have been made.
Down in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, the NYPD is searching for the suspect who stole an electric wheelchair.
Closer to home, police need your help. Do you recognize this person? They're looking for a suspect accused of stealing an electric wheelchair. This is in Brooklyn. It happened Sunday around 1:30 on Troy Avenue in Crown Heights. No one was hurt. Now, but just someone is without their wheelchair, which they need. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. That number, 800-577-TIPS.
A police chase across Jamaica, Queens, and Long Island ended with the suspect dead and several police officers in the hospital. Authorities say NYPD officers tried to stop the driver, who then hit 2 police officers before speeding away.
This fatal police chase ended in Massapequa Park with 1 man dead and several officers injured. But it started several miles away in Jamaica, Queens, Friday night around 11 p.m. That's when police say officers tried to pull the suspect over, but he wouldn't stop.
That individual tried to ram the 2 police officers and hit those officers and then fled that scene. NYPD put the notification over the air that they were heading towards Nassau County.
At Merrick Avenue and Sunrise Highway, officers tried to stop him again by using patrol cars to block his path.
He ran through, took off 2 of our police cars, 2 of our officers that they attempted to run over. They dove out of the way.
Eventually, the suspect begins driving the wrong way on Sunrise Highway, hitting police and civilian vehicles. He lost control at Hicksville Road and Sunrise Highway in Massapequa Park, slamming against this tree. He was still alive at this point, and police say they tried to take him into custody.
That individual did not comply. There was a shooting that occurred, and that individual died, and the 3 officers along with that individual were transported to a local area hospital.
There's shattered glass a few yards away. That's because one of the bullets hit this double-framed window. Investigators are going to be examining ballistic evidence, where those bullets landed, and also how fast that car was going when it finally came to a stop.
In a statement, the president of the Nassau County Police Benevolent Association says, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with all those involved in today's incident, including the officers injured, while protecting our communities. The Nassau County PBA remains committed to supporting our officers as they put their lives on the line every day."
And finally, New York City Sheriff Anthony Miranda's office is facing scrutiny over cash seizures made during raids of the illegal weed shops throughout the 5 boroughs. Miranda is reportedly under investigation over claims he allegedly solicited donations for an organization he heads in exchange for looking the other way at targets being investigated by the sheriff's office.
There are multiple reports tonight that New York City Sheriff and his office are under investigation. Sheriff Anthony Miranda's office apparently facing scrutiny over cash seizures made during the raids on illegal weed shops. And Miranda himself is reportedly under investigation over claims he allegedly solicited donations for an organization he heads in exchange for looking the other way on targets being investigated by the sheriff's office. Fox 5's Arthur Chien has the latest.
What they're smoking, the chemicals that are put onto these things to make them more potent, that's what makes it more dangerous.
New York City Sheriff Anthony Miranda's profile rocketed since taking the job more than 2 years ago. His agency, in charge of enforcing court orders and seizing property, landed him in the forefront of the battle against illegal weed shops. But the sheriff himself is now reportedly at the center of a corruption probe. According to multiple reports, the city's Department of Investigations is looking into whether Miranda solicited donations for an organization he heads, the National Latino Officers Association, in exchange for looking the other way on targets being investigated by his sheriff's office. Mayor Eric Adams Tuesday responded to yet another investigation into his administration by voicing his full confidence in Miranda.
They have handled over $78 million in illegal cannabis. I got a lot of confidence in him.
In addition to reports investigators are looking into Miranda, there are also several reports the DOI is looking into allegations his office improperly seized cash during its raids on illegal weed shops. At a hearing last week, City Council member Justin Brannan asked Miranda about cash seizures during raids on unlicensed cannabis stores.
Has any sheriff's office employee during any inspection of any of those shops ever seized any cash?
During padlock to protect operations?
Yeah.
I do not believe so.
While Miranda has been associated with some controversies during his career, none of them seem to be as serious as what he now reportedly faces.
That's this week's Crime in the City. For more, subscribe at youtube.com/Fox5NY.